Thank you so much for being here with me and welcome back. My name is Catherine Daniels and I love to empower people with spiritual healing and wellness. And the best thing about Retreat to Peace is the gift of inner peace, greater love, and joy. And during these times of uncertainty and changes in our world, nothing is permanent except our souls. And that is why we need to come together as we travel through one another's countries, creating a bridge, removing all the labels, and as we do this as one people, finding our home in one world. And this is why our signature talk today is so important. Today, I welcome back Maurice Martin. This will be part 2 of last week's interview. Amazing interview. And I look forward to sharing the rest of this interview with you today.
And so I will just believe that I'll start calling myself all these things. I'm so quirky and I'm so this and I'm so that. And to me, that's how you break the generational stuff. That's how you break down the broken traditions of our families and our lives, is you get to the truth of what is greater than you and what is within you and what is around you. It's that. I think it's that.
Yeah. It's powerful how you express all that, because as we know, as we've been going through the recent years with our world changing so rapidly, and a lot of these changes, if we think about it, there was a time where we would see the evolution of technology take 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, and now we're at a Can you imagine us having this conversation 5 years ago? We wouldn't be talking about these things. Mm-hmm. They weren't even on our radar. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like it seemed out of the possibility. But here we are having these conversations. And we really do have to give ourselves grace, because the entire globe has been through a traumatic experience. And a lot of the world is grieving. And as we know, grief shows and manifests in different ways. For some people, they fall into depression. Some people are just angry. You know, they can't accept it. It manifests in a lot of different ways. And I think it's really important that we call it what it is, mm-hmm. and recognize it for what it is, mm-hmm. and give ourselves grace that we are exactly where we're supposed to be in this moment as individuals. But our connectedness of the things being out of control, we disconnect from that, but learn the connectedness that we have control over. So what does that look like? Maybe it's connecting with your higher power, connecting with God, getting in prayer, connecting with your family, connecting with your friends, getting really authentic and real with that abundance of love that you can experience, and reaching out for it. You know, you don't have to go through this experience by yourself. Mm-hmm. Somewhere in the world right now,
people have been running from their pain, but the pain was present. They were trying to numb it. They were trying to avoid it. They were trying to ignore it, but it never actually works. You're still hurting. And I've been there. I've had my alcoholic moments. I've been high. I've ran to woman after woman. I've been a workaholic. I mean, I've done it all. And what you do is you throw back a couple of drinks, and then after a while, now you're drunk and sad. You go and you have that sexual fantasy fulfilled, and the moment that it's over, you're like, kind of wish I didn't do that. Nothing lasts. Everything is temporal. It's poof and it's gone. And so I guess what I'm saying is, you're already in pain. So why not embrace the process of exposing the pain to what can heal it? It's already there. Why not get something out of it? When I'm doing an interview, there's nobody who's hearing me talk right now who doesn't think I'm wide open, right? Somebody can listen to this interview and can criticize me, can judge me, can chastise me, and it would hurt me. It would hurt. I have insecurities just like everybody else. I spent half my life hearing what I'd never do and what I'd never be and what I'd never become, and the voices still try to talk to me on the inside. I am wide open in this moment. But I'm wide open because I'm trusting a kind of protection that I could never provide myself. When I stop believing I'm the only person who can protect me, I sometimes cut off the ability of the divine to protect me. And I understand, excuse me, I understand that some people had moments in their lives, most of us, excuse me, most of us had moments in our lives where we needed divine protection and it didn't come. That can I say that out loud, right? Where we look back and we go, well, where was God then? I say that in my book. That's why I'm okay with saying it out loud. It's in the last book I wrote. Most of us, when we practice healing and we practice forgiveness, most of us at some point consider the fact that we may have to forgive God or our perception of forgiving God, right? And so part of the process of protection is realizing that if it's true that everything in your life that you've been through can become a catalyst in this moment to bring all of your greatness out and to bring forth all of your beauty and to bring forth everything you were born to become, if that's true, then the divine can use anything. Then your higher power can use all things. And perhaps protection in a moment doesn't look like armor or walls. What if protection is simply for the things that used to hold you captive to now be your catalyst to the greatest healing moments of your life? What if that is the protection? What if the protection is I tear down the walls of feeling like I have to keep this secret to myself and I tell the truth and it sets me free? What if that's the protection? What if I don't need walls? What if I need air? I think most of us, we think we need walls. You ever seen a bird in a cage? It's kind of sad. You're like, boy, I hope that bird can get back out to, to the sky at some point soon. You ever see a dog in a cage? You're like, boy, kind of hope at some point soon the dog can go outside and start running around. How long have you lived in your cage?
Mm-hmm.
We put ourselves in a cage. We live in mental cages, stuck in a moment we can't get out of, stuck in moments that we choose to disappear back into. And I think the key is to understand I don't need this cage to be protected. I need freedom to be protected. I need the air to be protected. Ultimately, the way that I look at it, I understand there's a bunch of different ways people look at life, but from my life view, I need God to be protected. And God says, go be free.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of the cage. Get from behind your own walls and sit under mine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think to me that's the key to me. Go find real freedom. Hurt your way to freedom. Cry your way to freedom. You don't get as free as I am today, and I still have areas in my life where I'm not free like everybody else. You don't get here without a whole bunch of tears. You don't get here without pounding your fist on floors asking why. You don't get here without being hurt, and you don't get here without hurting other people. You don't get to this place of freedom without paying a price. But I was paying a price when I was broken. So if I'm going to pay a price either way, let me pay a price to get something that is invaluable.
Right. Right. When you were in a cage, when did that show up for you in your life?
I think that I first knew I was in a cage. I don't know the exact moment. There's a memory I have of being about 11 or 12. Life had been rough in moments for several years before that. But I remember I was standing in a room and I heard the sound of our garage and I was frozen. I didn't know what was going to walk through the door. And in those days, I had already been well trained and well conditioned to learn how to tiptoe my way through life, to be sometimes seen and sometimes heard and sometimes felt. My wife still today says, "Oh my God, how do you always sneak up on everybody?" Because I learned how to be there and not there. And I remember there was this moment where the garage door started to open and my heart started to race. And I thought to myself, I don't think I'm okay. And I don't think this is normal. And I don't know who I can talk to. And I don't know who I can be honest with. But I don't think I'm okay. And it was years later before I ever talked about those types of feelings. Crippling fear, crying myself to sleep at night, laying in bed wondering why nobody loves me. Doesn't matter if people did love me. I perceived that no one did. And so there were these moments that I had where the cage, the prison cell, it started to become comfortable. People would try to reach out to me and want to befriend me, and I would only let them so far. I learned how to manipulate communication. I can laugh my way through anything and joke my way around anything that I want to. And so I would humor my way around things so that I could get back to the cage as soon as possible. It was safe there. Because I'm so observant that I would catch the person snickering at me when they didn't think I was paying attention because they were making fun of me when I was talking. I would catch the person who was judging me from the other side of the room. I would catch the things that would bring out my insecurities. I'm way too observant. The things that people don't tell you till later, and you're like, yeah, I've known that for a decade. And so I started to despise being out in the open. It hurt too much. I'm one of those people, because I have a big personality. People feel like they can say anything to me, so they sometimes do, and that's not a good thing. So there's the people who come up to you and share their heart, but there's the people who just walk up to you and go, I don't like your shirt, and walk away. And you go, do you normally walk up to people and just tell them you don't like their clothes? Well, no, but you're you. Oh, maybe I need to stop being me. The people who would never have small talk with you or invite you to dinner, but when their girlfriend broke up with them in high school, call you on the phone. Maurice, I heard you're good at this. Huh, maybe I don't want to be good at this anymore. And so I feel like at some point I started to take pleasure in the prison. Like, it was so familiar. It was so comfortable to be there. I knew how to navigate it. I don't know how to navigate you hurting my feelings. I know how to navigate being guarded, though. I know how to navigate being a control freak and keeping myself into control so you can never have control over me. I know how to do that. So when did it start? I don't know. But I know a lot about how it continued and how I lived in it and how I thrived in it in some ways. Or it looked like thriving to me, right? Until ultimately I realized I was drowning. I hope that answered your question, but sometime around there, you know.
So when you're drowning, someone right now is drowning.
Mm-hmm.
They're listening and they're drowning.
Mm-hmm.
What advice do you give someone who feels that way?
Stand up. Stand up. Many of the people that I meet in life, they're drowning and they're in a body of water that is so small that if they stood up, they would stop drowning. The problem is you've been lying down in that pool for so long, that's why you're drowning. Stand up. And when you try to stand up, it's going to be unfamiliar to you because you're some of those muscles it's going to take to stand, you haven't used them for a while, if at all. And so you're going to feel a little wobbly underneath you, and it's going to be a little shaky. And you're going to be feeling like you can't stand in your own strength. And perhaps you can't. Maybe you're going to need to lean on somebody else. But the greatest thing that you can do is to understand if you're drowning, you're not necessarily drowning because of how much water is surrounding you. Maurice, you don't understand what I've been through in my life. You don't understand how many tragedies. You don't understand how many heartbreaks. I hear you on all that. But if you're here and you're listening right now, it's for a reason. And so if you are tuned in this moment, and anything that I'm saying is resonating with you, then understand that even if you are surrounded by water and there's a ton of water, maybe you don't understand the giant that you are. Maybe you were born to be so large that that's why so many people have tried to pull you down, because it's intimidating to them all that you are and can be. So the greatest advice that I can give to anyone is take a breath and then stand. And let me tell you something. I have my brother who was closest to me. He drowned. He died. He drowned in water. And the story that they told was that they tried to save him. And when they tried to grasp hold of him, he was fighting to get above water. And so he ends up fighting the very people trying to save him. And so the key is that when you get up, you have to get up in a way that's controlled. Get up with intention. You can't fight everything that's around you. If you try to fight everything, you're going to find yourself fighting against the very thing trying to save you. Yes, you're fighting for your life, but you fight for your life one prayer at a time. One conversation at a time, one journal entry at a time, one stare in the mirror and practice of affirmations at a time. You don't give up by just cussing everybody out around you and letting everybody know you've been holding me down for too long and I'm done. Like, that's not how that happens. You can't fight your way out of this. Not that kind of fight. You fight by saying, God, I'm ready. I want this. So I'm going to start to stand. Please help me. Let somebody stand beside me. Let somebody be in front of me so that if I start to fall, let somebody catch me. But please help me stand. And if you start to stand and then you start to fall over and you slink back in the water, that's okay. Start to get up again. And then start to get up again. And then start to get up again. And after a while, you'll realize that you're doing the same kind of stuff as push-ups when you try to get up again. And you try to get up again. You're building muscles. I said you have to push against the resistance. So even if the process of standing is hard, it's not proof you're not meant to stand. It's proof that you have to weather the storm and weather the process to build what is necessary to become what you need to be to stand all the way and sustain it. I'm standing right now, but I remember what it was like to drown. I remember the days I was mad that I didn't drown. Can I say that?
Yeah.
There's somebody listening right now, and there are days when they wake up and they're mad that the water didn't kill them. I promise you I know what that feeling is. I have been there. And the greatest thing that you can understand is that if you're still breathing, if your heart is still pumping, if you're still here, there's a reason. And you getting up, what you don't realize is this. You're laying down on the ground and the water is surrounding you and you're looking up. And what you don't know is that there's somebody a distance away from you and they're laying down too. And you can't see them and they can't see you. But when you get up and start to walk, they're going to catch a glimpse of you. And you're going to give them hope. You're going to show them what is possible. You're going to build their faith. Your story of getting up will be the catalyst to someone else's miracle. I'm somebody's. Why not you? I hope that somebody just truly takes in the fact that there's somebody who needs you that you've never met. There's somebody who needs you who you don't even know exists. I don't know whose life I can be changing right now, but I fully believe that I'm here to change it because of grace.
Yeah. I just have to take a moment and just gather all of that, because as you were saying it, literally the first time you said stand up, I literally saw angels swoop down and help that person stand.
Come on.
And I believe that there's so much support around us that we don't even realize. And we have earth angels all around all the time. And I think in my journey through my experiences, how many times that divine intervention, that opportunity that I thought was a missed opportunity that became a blessing, how I served for someone else in their miracle over and over and over. I have so many stories I could share, but we all do. We all do. So when you say stand up and, become someone else's vision of hope, guide, I mean, it's beautiful because that's what we're supposed to do. That's part of our life work here. And the safety net of knowing you're not alone. You've got a lot of support. And that is in the spiritual realm as well. The higher power, your God. There's so much, so much. I could talk literally for hours with you. It's powerful. It's so powerful. I sit here and I'm in so much awareness of the magnitude of these interviews and how they radiate and ripple through the world and help people. And I'm always in complete awe and in gratitude of my guests that come to me and share their stories and share these incredible opportunities for people to create hope and give them possibility, really. And in the world that we're living in right now, I mean, I feel like as things feel uncomfortable, as things feel like, the walls are closing in or whatever it may be, it really is look for the light, look for the opportunities, look for the blessings, look for all that is good. And to your point, open up your heart to all of that. Just open it up and be that hope and that inspiration to other people around you. And I know collectively as we do this around the world, we're going to raise each other up. We're going to raise those vibrational energies around the globe. And that has to manifest into something really beautiful. I really believe that it has to, because that energy of love and light, you can't destroy that. That's not something that could be destroyed.
I think that most people have lived life not truly getting a chance to understand what love really even is. And I get it, because many of us have lived in places where the values were off. People on their deathbed often value very different things than they did in their 20s and in their 30s. And I've read studies where they say that they go around to these hospitals and they interview people in their 80s and 90s, and people say, if you could do it all over again, how would you have lived? And they say, well, I'd have spent more time with my family. I'd have spent more time becoming the man that I needed to become, not trying to accomplish what I thought I needed to accomplish. I would have taken more days off, and I would have lived and laughed and loved, right? And so I think that what I call God, I believe that God gives us an opportunity to calibrate to truth, something that I said earlier. That if you see all these examples around you of people getting everything that they want and nothing that they need, if you've lived it in your own life, if you have gotten things that looked like light and ended up dark, then you have now learned enough to know truth. You've now lived enough to know, I thought that was love. No, that was lust. I thought that was love, but that was me surrounding myself with people I could control. I thought that was peace, but that was just isolation. And so now the real pursuit of truth becomes, so how do I get to real love? How do I experience real peace? How do I open myself up to the possibilities that maybe I wasn't born to be miserable, that maybe I wasn't born to always be ostracized and cast aside? How do I let myself hope again? I'm not sure that there's anything in life more valuable and important than hope. Hope is directly intertwined and interwoven into faith. In fact, I can read that faith is the evidence of things hoped for, the assurance of things hoped for, meaning it's like faith has a substance and hope has a substance. And if I get my heart around hope, it can help me break down barriers. It can give me the courage to walk into what looks impossible. One of the reasons that you do a podcast like this is hope. You want somebody to hear such a message at the right place and the right time in hopes that it sparks hope. Because if a person begins to hope, they become dangerous. Hope is dangerous. Because hope will let you know that it's possible that every lie you've ever been told can be righted. Hope will make you believe that every generational curse can be broken. Hope can make you rekindle a relationship that you thought was on the brinks and could never be what it needs to be again. Hope could make you a better mother, a better father, a better husband, a better wife, a better son, a better daughter, a better boss, a better employee. Hope is literally the catalyst of most of the most beautiful things in life. Not pride, not arrogance. Those things can produce good things, but those things are good and not lasting, fleeting, flickers of light. What I want is the type of lasting light that I can calibrate myself to. Some people travel based on where the sun is in the sky, where the stars are in the sky. You can calibrate yourself to light that is consistent and keeps coming back. Hope is when, even though my life doesn't always look like I want it to, I say, but I remember what God said. Hope is when my life isn't going the way that I want, but I remember that person who spoke such wisdom or spoke such passion or spoke something into me that I can't shake. I mean, yes, I remember all these people who told me what I'm never going to do. And all these people, look, I remember all the things that people said to me that hurt my heart. But I remember being 13 years old and talking to Mrs. Kilborn. It was the last day of school, and I went to Mrs. Kilborn. She was my English teacher, and I went to her so she would sign my journal. She said, "Young man, I want to tell you something." She says, there are some people in life who are born to become anything they want to become. If they put their mind to it, if they put their heart to it, they can become anything that they want. You, sir, are one of those people, so I want to tell you and warn you, make sure you're intentional about what it is you're trying to become. Make sure that you don't live life accidentally, because whatever it is you shoot at, you'll get. I am now 39 years old. It's been 26 years. And the hope that Mrs. Kilborn put inside of me lasted through me wanting to kill myself, lasted through relationships that I didn't want to end, lasted through me failing out of college, lasted through me going back to college, lasted through me playing music with Grammy winners and Emmy winners, lasted me through writing books, lasted me through marriage, lasted me through hope. I think that that's what brings the light. And to me, God is hope, like God is love, right? So to me, it's all intertwined and interwoven into a beautiful tapestry. Because I told somebody, get up, somebody looked in on the inside in their mind's eye, and they saw their self standing up out of a pool of water. And they don't know why, but for some reason, something in them started to believe it was possible. My friends, that's not just my brilliance. That was the birthplace of hope. And hope is not something that I even have to possess to give you. It's something that is divine in nature that just sits with you. It rests on you. It sits around you. I can't take hope and put it in my pocket, yet I can feel it. Hope is everything. Hope is everything. It's what keeps me going. I believe that on my wall it says courageous faith, and then underneath it says embrace the impossible. It's real small, so you can't see it. Even if you're listening, you wouldn't be able to read it. It says embrace the impossible, and that is literally the motto that my wife and I live our lives with now. Embrace the impossible. Somebody said that a kid who had all these scars and verbal abuse and physical abuse and watching mom get beaten. Some people said he would never be able to love the right way. There were some times in my life that I was convinced I couldn't have a happy marriage, or I'd never be able to be with one woman, or that and I understand these are my values and this is my life, but I'm just saying there were things that I wanted for my life, but didn't think were possible. I could ever be a good father. I've never seen one. How could I be it? My dad was gone as soon as I was born. I got raised by my stepdad and felt like he didn't want me. That's the truth. So it would be impossible for me to be the father that I am, who was dancing in the living room with his 1-year-old son today. That's impossible. For me to work from home today and make a meal and take care of my family's emotional needs, and then get on a podcast and do all these things. My life is impossible to some people. It's impossible. Cool. I'll embrace the impossibility because my hope, my little bit of hope, is stronger than all of the doubt, all of the criticism, all the cantankerous things that I've experienced. The little bit of hope that I have is so much more powerful than all that stuff. And the problem when I was at my lowest place wasn't that the hope didn't exist, is that I wasn't looking at it. Somebody right now is feeling hopeless. If you're hopeless, why are these words affecting you? If you're hopeless, why is this resonating with you? Nothing would resonate with you that wasn't on your frequency. So if I'm walking down your aisle, it's because you showed up to the store. You already had hope, you just weren't looking at it. You weren't recognizing it. You weren't feeling it. What is there? Very few people in my life have I spoken to and looked in the eyes and couldn't find hope and then couldn't spark hope. Because sparking hope is actually helping people have self-actualization of where the hope is. That's really what the spark is. It's recognition.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, Maurice, I have something I didn't have before. No, you did. You did have it. You just didn't know it.
Yeah. You had it the whole time.
You had it the whole time.
Yeah. It's amazing because when you live from your heart space and you live from the inside out, as we talked about earlier before we got on the show,
Mm-hmm.
it does change your perspective. It does change your vantage point. And everything is possible. Nothing is impossible. Everything is possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I love for the people that can't see you, I love that I get to interview you and you have this beautiful peace dove over your shoulder that's flying and has that beautiful slogan. And that's just so amazing. It's an amazing testimony of how you live your life with such passion and conviction and such strength. And that's really beautiful. Really beautiful.
It's an honor. It's an honor to be speaking to you. And for many years of my life, I have been doing this type of work behind closed doors. And so this season of my life is really the first season where I have openly started to share the feelings and sentiments and observations that I had already been having, since my, what I call my spiritual awakening, which took place in like 2016. And so, I think it all goes back to the sincerity of the moment and the gratitude of the moment. I'm just grateful. Truly, I'm grateful. Because if I had my way, I wouldn't be here to talk to everybody. Like if I got what I thought I deserved, then I wouldn't be doing any of this stuff. I would have, and I thought that I was put on the earth to make music, right? And I have a keyboard behind me, but like I thought that I was put on the earth, to be a musician, and to go be a famous rock star. And I thought I knew what I was supposed to do in life. And if I had died some of the periods of my life where I kind of wanted to, I would have never written any books. I just finished my third. I never would have gotten married. I never would have had my kids. I never would have seen lives changed. I never would have seen grown men twice my size fall into my arms crying, saying, "Thank you for changing my life." I would have never experienced the most beautiful and precious gifts of my life. They never would have happened. And so the thing that I just want to share with somebody tonight is know that your breakthrough, your miracle, your sign, your wonder, they're all in front of you. They're all before you. They're all during the path that you need to walk now. Everything you're looking for exists and it's all there, but you have to be willing to get up. That's the only thing that changed for me. I got up and I said, I'm tired and I'm weary, but I'm going to walk. I have belief and disbelief, but I'm going to walk. I'm going to be imperfect in the journey, but I'm going to walk. I'm going to let some people down, but I'm going to try to build some people up, and I'm going to walk. I've done this thing imperfectly. I mess up every day. I say the wrong thing. I do the wrong thing. I think the wrong thing. I get stuck for a minute. But by the grace of God, I'm still here walking. And I was on the phone with a good friend of mine the other day, last week. And, it's a crazy thing when like grown men cry to you, like, when you're close enough. And so one of my friends, we were talking and I was telling him about some of my insecurities. And I said, I'm scared right now. I'm doing so many new things in my life. And I want to get it right for my family, and I want to get it right for my destiny, and I want to get it right for my legacy. And I was talking about all these things, and my friend, he said to me, and as he started to speak, tears welled up in his eyes, and he said, listen to me. He said, I need you to understand that I'm vested in this moment. I'm watching you, and I'm not the only one. And I need you to not take your foot off the gas. I need you to not give up on this journey, because I need to know it's possible. And this is a grown man, tears in his eyes, and he was trying his best not to let one fall. And I thought to myself, this is bigger than me. Isn't that what you told me before the interview started? You said this is bigger than us. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than me. That's why I'm so thankful that I could be used in the potter's hands. This is bigger than me.
And the ripple effect that it has.
Yes.
The ripple effect, one life to the next, to the next, to the next. That's the part that is just astoundingly beautiful.
Yes.
There's just no words.
Yes. Yes. I completely agree. You just never know where that pebble is going to take the water. So have the courage to throw the pebble. Mm-hmm. Have the courage to be the pebble. You don't know how. One of the things that I say to people sometimes, and maybe somebody needs to hear this, think about yourself at your worst and how powerful you are. Like, think of yourself when you're miserable, when you're cantankerous, when you're ornery, when you're frustrated, when you're bitter. Just think of yourself and the effect you have. You ever ruined an atmosphere? You walk into a room and everybody's perfectly fine, and you come in and you just suck the life out of a room. We've all done it. Have you ever brought down morale so much that you started saying things like, well, I just don't want to talk about my feelings anymore because I just bring people down? Well, if you're powerful enough to bring everybody down, you're powerful enough to lift everybody up. If you are powerful enough to take the life out of a room, you're powerful enough to speak life to the room. If you're powerful enough to bring forth darkness, you're powerful enough to bring forth light. And so the key is for me to understand how truly powerful, again, some of you have seen all this water come rushing in, and you're convinced you're going to, and you don't understand there's a giant within you. Mm-hmm. And so I just think that it is so important for us to know what we're capable of. And sometimes you only find it by looking at when it's working against you, not working for you.
I have a beautiful story to share that's coming to me right now. And as a little girl who was supposed to be seen and not heard, if you think about that, look at me. I'm on a world stage now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This little girl who's not supposed to talk. Here I am. But what I love to do is I love to put light and love out into the world. And I will do that with everyone that I come across. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who I'm with. I look for opportunity. I'll look for opportunity to pay somebody a compliment. I'll look for opportunity to say, God bless you. you know, and sometimes when I do that, people will look at me strange, like, I can't believe you just said that. But it also just makes their day. You know, people will say, oh my gosh, like, thank you. Thank you for saying that because you don't know what I'm going through. You don't know what a difficult time I'm having right now. And when somebody can truly just put their heart out to another person and let them know, I see you. I'm here to, to share space with you because I see you. And I want you to know you're not alone. I want you to know you're supported. And whatever way you can do that, it does. It raises that person's vibration where they're not in that space of, depression or whatever it may be that they're feeling. Because for a brief moment, you've given them that hope that you talked about. You've opened their eyes to something. And then what does that do? It just keeps, rippling out.
And sometimes we miss that in those moments. We don't pay attention to how that also comes back to us, that the ripples go both ways. Sometimes I think so much about my effect on other people that I don't think about their effect on me, right? And so that moment to say God bless you and to see the person look at you funny also shows you a little bit about your worth and your value. It shows you a little bit about what you bring to the world that is rare and unique. They looked at you that way because that's unexpected. It's unconventional. And so there is beauty in learning that everything that you are is everything you're supposed to be. And that when you affect them, they're affecting you and you're affecting yourself. And if you can begin to look at all of those different relationships, it gives you a totally different understanding and revelation about how powerful and beautiful life is. I'm learning about me in that moment too. And I think that's critical. I need every chance I can to understand why I'm a beautiful human. I need to know that. Like I need to know that I'm worth it. I'm worth fighting for. I'm worth healing. I'm worth changing. I'm worth fixing. I'm worth evolving. I'm worth maturing. I'm worth it.
Absolutely.
Not in an egotistical way, just in the most beautiful of ways.
So the people that are listening to the show right now don't have any idea that you have on your shirt, be encouraged. And I love the ability that people have where they can make a statement when they're out in public like that. And sometimes I'll go out into the world and I feel like a lot of people are trying to dim their light because they're trying to conform or they're trying to blend in. And when someone has the courage to make a statement, like be encouraged, I have a shirt that says faith over fear. And I wear it proudly because what happens to me quite often is I'll have total strangers just start talking to me. They'll start telling me things. They'll start opening up to me. And I will listen. I will encourage. And often, they'll just start sharing these hardships or whatever it is they're going through. And I'll always say to them, faith over fear. You don't have to be in fear. You do not have to be in fear. It's a choice. It is a choice. Kind of like what you were saying about standing up. You have a choice.
One of my best friends owns a clothing company called Zabree Inspire. And, he battles with lupus. And he's just this incredibly inspiring man who I have cried in his chest and and we've shared these powerful moments together as brothers and friends. And so when I wear a shirt like this, be encouraged, it's because I know somebody needs it. That's why he made it, because he knew someone needed it. Most people, when you walk past them, walking down a street, walking in a store. They know how to encourage everyone in the store but theirself. They know how to pay a compliment to everybody. They know how to give kindness. They even know how to give grace and forgiveness to everybody else. But many people have never learned how to encourage themselves, how to be kind to themselves, how to forgive themselves for their shortcomings. Most of the people who are the strongest people you meet in life are the people who most need encouragement. And so I just think it is so critically important for you to be encouraged, for you to walk life as encouragement. I'm learning chapter 39 of my life. I'm learning there is nothing more important than being. That I have to be faith. I have to be the embodiment of hope. I have to be love. I have to be forgiveness. I have to be grace. I have to be inspiration and be motivation. And I have to be encouraged and be encouragement and be courage. That life is not about doing things and portraying things and just learning the tools of things, but it's about doing things enough that eventually it just becomes you. Mm-hmm. See, there were some times when I was depressed. I was anxious. I was bitter. I was broken. I was lost. See, when I say all those things, they sound normal. But when I start talking about being faith, it's like, wait a second, what are you talking about? But you know what it is to be lost. You know what it is to be broken. We become the embodiment of the negative values and the negative postures. Well, what if you invite yourself into the journey of becoming everything you've dreamed of being? So I'll be encouraged. I'll walk in the encouragement. I'll be the embodiment of encouragement. It's about becoming.
And it's so strong when you use those words. Like words have energy. And when you say be encouraged, it's so strong. It really does radiate with such strength. And
it does.
It's incredibly beautiful that your friend has this vision and this inner knowing that this is what people need. And it's very subtle. Like you can go into the world and somebody will get a glimpse, and it's only for a brief moment, but it does create that impact. And that's what's really beautiful about it.
Well, the most power in life is in subtleties. How many times in your life have you had someone give you a hateful, subtle glance and it ruined your day? Somebody took a subtle, cheap shot at you and it ruined your mood. So subtle suggestions of positivity and subtle support and subtle references to good. Subtle things can go a long way. A small hug, a wave, a smile. There are so many things that can be subtle in life that we can underestimate and undervalue how critically important they can be.
It's so true. And as a child, you know, the smile is the universal language around the world. So you may not speak the language, but you understand what a smile is. And a child has the ability to recognize what that means and feel that, you know. So it's just a subtle thing, but it has so much impact and power behind it. And it's truly a gift. You're a gift. You're a gift. You're so beautiful and articulate, and you're so filled with grace, and it's just beautiful to have you on the show and be able to articulate the way you do. Has just been amazing. So I'm so filled with gratitude and just so appreciative of your time.
Just thank you so much for having me. And This has been a beautifully freeing conversation. And again, they didn't hear our pre-conversation, but by the time you opened up and shared what you did, it gave me the comfort and the courage to just be myself. And so just thank you for what you do and what you bring to the table.
Oh, I appreciate that so much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do have one last question for you. So if I were to pick up your earth angel feather off the ground, what would your message to the world be?
God loves you. It would be simple. God loves you. It is possibly the hardest lesson that I've had to learn since I woke up. That I woke up out of a broken place. I experienced the miracle I'd been waiting for. And I realized I had purpose. And I started to see my value and see my worth. I even realized I had gifts. And they began to pour out of me and to touch people and help people and change people. And I could conceive of all of those things. But the hardest thing for me to conceive was that something that could create the universe, something that could create the sun and the moon and the stars and the water, not only created me, but cares. And I think in this season of my life, it's the reason that I'm still standing. That I've realized that something that I can't conceive loves me more than I can conceive, and that's why I am given grace. So if there was only one thing that feather that had dropped down from heaven onto the earth said, it would just say, God loves you.
That is very beautiful. You're definitely an earth angel for sure. Thank you so much, and just so appreciative. So I appreciate you. I appreciate your message, and thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. This has been beautiful.
You're very welcome. And for my audience, thank you for being with us today. And as always, this is Catherine Daniels with Retreat to Peace, reminding you to live your authentic life with peace. And as always, retreat to peace, and we'll see you next time.